They're finding on autopsy now that people have freaking plastic in their brain, So it's
No,
like,
they don't. What are you talking about? Plastic?
have you not seen that?
No.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh
What
my
do
God.
you mean?
Oh my God.
Like, are you kidding? What do you mean
No.
plastic in my brain? Oh, get the fuck out.
Oh my God.
Pull it up.
You need to go research that. Okay.
Okay. This is where I get frustrated.
Don't even open that can of worms.
Like horrifying.
Horrifying. Not allowed to cry or have emotions in your house?
Like, do you really need to know what Zymoglyphosate 8 is? Or
Oh, Jessica.
everyone has a favorite. Everyone does. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
She
My
ain't. I
brain
know why
is
I'm not going to say.
fried, but other
Did
than
you finish
I'm
that email?
great. Yes, I did. Yes.
Did you send it?
Yes, I did.
That long ass thing?
Yes, I did.
It's great. She's going to feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of emails and clients, today we are talking about the rise in the mental health diagnosis, like as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I'm going to read some stats. You have stats. We all have stats. So, okay, this is for, did you write this? Or I don't know who did what, but did you put stats in there?
Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
No, that's fine.
Mhm.
Do you want to read them or you want me to?
I'll read them.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Go,
So
girl.
23.1% of the U.S. population, which is whatever, I can't do ratios, is diagnosed with with some kind of mental health disorder. So that's a lot. That's almost a fourth of the population. Okay.
And what did it say, U.S.?
U.S.
Okay.
Yep, U.S.
Okay.
Adult population. Okay. This increase is mostly in young adults under 26 versus adults over 26 over the past decade.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like 18 to 26 would be that bracket?
Correct.
Okay.
The rate of individuals reporting symptoms consistent with major depression, which this is like what people would call like clinical depression. Okay.
Is it MD? Is that
MDD?
MDD?
Yep. Major depressive disorder in the last 12 months increased 52% in adolescents from 2005 to 2017.
So like age range.
That would be if they're saying adolescents, I think now they say 12 to 20 or 12 to 19.
Damn. Okay.
The rate of young adults with suicidal thoughts or other suicide-related outcomes, which is like suicide attempts or suicides, increased 47% from 2008 to 2017.
I believe it.
Suicide is the leading cause of death in the United States.
Really?
Yep. So that when they say that, I think that's like leading cause of death over all age groups. But then when you divide up age groups, there's going to be differences. Like for age 40 to 60, it might be like heart disease or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
It's the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 24. I think first leading cause is always accidental, I think.
Accidental.
Or trauma, like car accident or blah, 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 whatever. Suicide has accounted for the loss of more than 45,979 American lives in 2020.
It's a lot.
Nearly double the number of lives lost to homicide.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy high numbers.
Yeah. So some trends on anxiety, which has like subsets.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a huge umbrella term.
Yeah. And so anxiety disorders are another one that's just like wildly diagnosed.
Yeah.
I guess. Or the as a high quantity of being diagnosed.
Prevalence, yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Prevalence. That's exactly right. All right. So generalized anxiety disorder affects 6.8 million adults or 3.1% of the U.S. population. And panic disorder affects 6 million adults, 2.7 of the U.S. population. Women are twice as likely to be affected compared to men, and same with generalized anxiety disorder. All right. Social anxiety disorder, 15 million, 7.1%. Wow. I know. But I wonder if that's to do like I want to see
That's really high.
That's really high. That's really high. And I don't have a lot. Anyways. Okay. Equally common among men and women, typically begins around age 13. 36% of people with social anxiety disorder report experiencing symptoms for 10 or more years before seeking help.
Yeah.
Specific phobias, 19.3 million adults or 9.1 of the U.S. pop.
Really?
I guess. Women are twice as likely to be affected compared to men.
Huh.
Symptoms typically begin in childhood.
Yeah.
The average onset is 7. So I'm going to 2 cents. I feel like that's because someone enabled.
I disagree 100%.
Oh, for specific phobias?
Yes, because you know that there's some that they have actually found a gene. Like for, you know, that needle phobia and blood phobia, they actually isolated a gene that is inherited.
That,
I
like, I'm
had it
scared
as
of
a kid.
needles?
Yeah. I used to, like, the few times I had to get blood drawn, I had a syncopal, like, I was unconscious. I stood and was,
but
like,
that's
unconscious.
not a phobia.
Yes,
That's
it
a
is.
medical.
It's classified as a phobia. Yes, it is.
Whatever.
Okay.
All right. OCD and PTSD are closely related to. Oh, I thought they were anxiety disorders. They're not?
They are. I consider them to be.
Yeah. Whatever. Are
Whatever.
closely related to anxiety disorders, which some may experience at the same time, along with depression. Okay. Stress. Everyone experiences stress. Whatever.
Yep.
OCD affects 2.5 million adults, 1.2% of the U.S. population.
Okay.
Women are 3 times more likely to be affected than men.
Yeah.
Average onset 19, with 25% of the cases occurring by age 14.
Mm-hmm.
PTSD, 7. This feels like underrepresented.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
PTSD, 7.7 million adults, 3.6 of the U.S. population. Women are 5 times more likely to be affected than men.
Yeah.
Rape is the most likely trigger of PTSD. 65% of men and 45.9% of women who are raped will develop the childhood sexual abuse is a strong right.
Yep.
Okay, so that is like the stats on the anxieties.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Okay,
on.
and then autism, which we've talked about this, how this is really, I mean, it's wild how much it's increased.
Yeah.
Okay, so the study that looked at kids and adults in the U.S. From 2011 to 2022 saw a huge increase, particularly among young adults, female children and adults, okay, because we know that like autism looks different in girls versus boys, and children from some racial or ethnic minority groups. The autism rate was greatest among 5 to 8-year-olds throughout the study period and increased 175% among the full sample. The greatest increase in diagnosis occurred in 26 to 34-year-olds, interestingly. So a lot of people who had not been diagnosed as kids, those are, I mean, I think we all know that those would be like the level 1, like high functioning autistic
Yeah, but I wonder
people.
like why they get it, like what led to the diagnosis? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's especially like ASD. You don't really think you're an issue. You know what I mean? Not that it's an issue, but I mean like, I don't know.
It kind of makes me wonder, like, what percentage of that group is like accurate diagnosis versus just being diagnosed because
someone's in front of your face.
Yeah, well, and it's like, you know, I mean, we talked about how there was a huge TikTok trend with autism, you know, and then the rate of diagnosis went up a lot, which that is going to be among people who are watching TikTok, which is young adults, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with ASD. It's all over it's all over social reels, like whatever. Okay, so you said
so that's autism.
Yeah.
And like the takeaway that this is repeatedly said in research is that, you know, yes, we've changed the diagnostic criteria to include more people. Yes, there's increased awareness. Yes, there's more screening. But none of that can fully explain this massive increase in diagnosis.
Across diagnoses or just autism?
Autism, but we also see that for ADHD too.
Why does it not?
Well, that's the question that everyone's trying to figure out, right?
What do you think?
They're just saying, I mean, I think there's 1,000,001 reasons why. I don't think there is a single reason why. You know, like, I don't think you can just blame it on the way schools are now, or you can just blame it on, you know, diet, or you can just blame it on social media. I think it's like this like perfect storm of all of these things together that for all of these mental health issues is like driving up rates of diagnosis. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I just don't think you can like pin it on one thing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, yeah. So like ADHD, obviously everyone knows. Like everyone has ADHD. Yeah. And everyone's like cavalier about it too. Yeah. Like, I mean, whatever.
Including us.
Yeah, including us. Correct. Okay. So why? Who's Gene Twenge?
Okay. So I saw this. I've actually, full disclosure, I have not read this book,
Oh.
but I saw it on Google.
Okay.
So, and I just liked the way she worded this. Okay. So
Okay.
there's this author, Jean Twenge. I believe she's some kind of mental health professional. And she
Mhm.
wrote this book, iGen, about these like trends in mental health over the last few decades. So
Okay.
she said, the increase in mental health issues were sharpest after 2011. Okay, so we see this gradual increase going up to 2011, and then 2011 on, it's like this really sharp incline, okay, in diagnoses. And she said it's obviously not likely just because of genetics changing, right? Okay, or like economic world problems, which a lot of people blame it on. But she said that it's more likely due to these like cultural changes that have happened. Okay, so changes in the way young people spend their time outside of work and school, changes in the way they socialize, changes in the way that families operate. And she said that part of that, which, you know, we always talk about, is digital media, electronics,
Oh, yeah.
how that has changed social interaction to increase like anxiety, mood disorders, et cetera, et cetera. And then also the other thing that she said that is so true is that research shows repeatedly that young people are not sleeping as much as they did generations ago. Yeah. Which is a huge, I mean, we all know that. That's a huge problem, chronic insomnia.
Right. So like this, that makes sense for, I mean, everything except for like autism. I mean, you know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. I think because autism is not a mental health issue, right?
Right.
We see it. It comes in our clinics. We end up seeing it, but
it's in the DSM.
Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder.
But it's in the DSM.
I know. But like, if you compare that to anxiety, depression, OCD, like I personally don't see it as the same. Yes, I end up treating like
symptoms
problems that are caused by autism, but there's no psychiatric treatment that treats autism. You know, like autism is a neurologic disorder. You know, it's a neurodevelopmental disorder.
Yeah. What else would be in that bracket? Like what other?
Like intellectual disability, which there's 1,000,001 causes of that. Like there's like Fragile X, there's, you know, fetal alcohol syndrome, Down syndrome. Yeah. So I see it, I mean, and I'm sure people are going to be like, you're an idiot, but whatever. No. I see it as like more in that category, you know, that like,
it is in the DSM in that.
It is. Yes,
yeah,
it is, right? So we separate it in psychiatry from like everything else. And it's like, we can help with like, if the autism is causing anxiety or like they also have ADHD, like there's things we can do to try to like not make the autism cause as many problems, but we can't treat the autism with, you know, psychiatric treatment.
Well, then like, do you think the rate of diagnosis for autism is increasing? So you think it's all of the things? It's not just.
No. I think that's the outlier.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so when I was saying, you know, in terms of mental health issues, increasing diagnosis, it's a lot of different things causing it. Social media, families operating differently, you know, not having enough time outside, diet, blah, 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 blah. I think that applies to everything except for autism. When it comes to autism, I feel like we're dealing with a different beast. Like something is going on.
That's
what do you driving think? That.
What's your like theory or hypothesis?
I think that there's something obviously affecting the neurologic system, you know, that's like causing that. I don't know. I have no freaking clue what that is. Yeah. But I think that autism has way more of all of this has a genetic component in the sense that you can inherit, you know, certain genes. But I also
oh my God, our bestie Erica, whatever the fuck that lady on the Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that idiot. she said that like it's not a genetic thing. Like you can't
what's not a genetic thing?
Like psychiatric stuff.
Oh God, are you serious?
That you can't. Not you can't, but like it's not genetic predisposition and stuff. I know. Isn't that correct?
Oh my
I forgot
God.
to tell you that.
I just can't.
Anyways, I know.
Even.
Have you ever had that thought, is my child a monster or am I a monster? You're not alone. Parents have all kinds of questions, and let me reassure you that no, your child is not a monster and neither are you. I'm Leslie Cohen Rubery, the host of Is My Child a Monster, a parenting skills podcast. And I am a parent and a therapist with 40 years of experience helping parents understand their children. Join me each week as I work with real parents on practical skills to help them navigate intense emotions and challenging behaviors. So check it out and subscribe to Is My Child a Monster wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, keep going. So
Like, I
we're all
just
genetic.
feel like there's
yeah.
something else going on there. I have no idea what it is. No clue. But there's something else going on.
You don't have any like ideas or like guesses or like brainstorm?
I do think that there's like we are being exposed to chemicals that are changing our DNA. You know, they literally change DNA.
Like which are there like specific
Chemicals
ones that,
in
like, weren't
food,
around?
chemicals, pesticides, things in our drinking water.
Okay, wait. So isn't it like 2011 is when it spiked?
Mental health diagnoses in general, yes.
In general, okay.
Yes.
But like RFK and all this shit, they just came out, whatever, and said it's a huge spike in ASD specifically.
That, yes. I mean, but I think it's also just mental health issues in general. I mean, that's what all of these studies say, that like there was like a sharp incline.
Yeah.
And like when I do my social media presentations at schools, like that's in my presentation, that like the rates of suicide like sharply inclined that year. I think that was more like 2008-ish, 2009. But like we saw across the board around that time, the late 2000s, early 2010s, there was like this really sharp incline in all of these mental health issues. And that's not random.
Yeah.
That doesn't just like randomly
like
happen.
what came out? You know what I mean?
So the iPhone came out, I think it was 2008.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like ASD though. Like what pesticides, chemicals, like what, like something had to
I
have.
would say maybe when it comes to autism, maybe social media has increased awareness. Like more people have access to information about autism.
Yeah.
So more people are like asking questions to their providers, getting their child screened.
But what chemical, like
that, I don't think is a chemical thing. I don't think there was like this mass chemical that was released in 2011 and now everybody has autism. Like, I think we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
Okay. So there's been a general increase in autism rates over decades. Okay. Several decades.
Yeah, but I'm about to. But this was a whole thing that came out. Hold on, and autism rates are.
So I'm just going to say this.
Go ahead. Go.
There's a general increase in the rates of diagnosis over several decades.
Yeah.
To me, that says something is happening in the environment. Okay. There's some kind of environmental thing that's like changing DNA, changing neurologic structures, whatever. Okay. There also was a sharp incline in 2011. Okay, so we see this gradual increase, and then we see the sharp incline.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2011.
Yeah.
To me, when it comes to autism, that means that sharp incline means increased awareness, increased screening, increased diagnosis.
Okay.
Okay, but it doesn't explain why there was this gradual incline long before that. Okay. I do think when it comes to other mental health issues like anxiety, depression, everything under the anxiety umbrella, those having a sharp incline around that time, I do think that technology was involved in that. Okay. So it's like technology has done some good in increasing awareness, but it's also done a lot of harm in terms of actually worsening mental health issues.
I mean, I think the awareness thing is like a catch-22.
I know. It is, 100%.
Like, okay, so in 2020, it had increased from ASD diagnosis increased from 1 in 36 to 1 in 31 in 2022. So, I mean, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's also, I will say, and like, you know, y'all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I swear, but there's also a lot of talk about like how much is these personal electronic devices, like the electromagnetic fields from those, like how much is that actually changing brain
by looking
function?
at it?
By like proximity to your head.
No one's talking on the phone anymore. They're not.
Forget
no one's
it.
talking on the fucking phone. They're not.
I know, but you don't have to talk with it on your ear.
This
like,
is where it is.
What if you're sleeping and it's on your bedside table right next to your
under my pillow.
head?
It legit is under my
There
pillow.
you go.
But I didn't check. My
There
shit's
you
the same.
freaking
I'm
go.
better than I was when I was a teenager.
Or what if you're holding an iPad 1 foot from your head for 5 hours a day at 5 years old, you know? Like, I mean, I think it sounds hokey, but like, I feel like that is potentially something.
About like changes the neurology to be more
like I think just like being exposed to that so frequently, you know, over
lead
so
to
many years can cause a lot of problems. I don't know if it causes autism, but I think it's probably not good for our brains in some way,
right?
You know,
I mean, like what chemical? Okay, so chemicals, pesticides, like hasn't all that shit been around though, like forever?
Yeah, but the problem is it's accumulating.
Right.
Okay. So like the amount that we as Americans were exposed to in 1980 is far less than the amount we're exposed to now, because like in the beginning, you know, if they were spraying crops, like in the very beginning when Roundup came out, right? And they were spraying crops, it wasn't like already in the earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And now, like, over time, it's accumulated so much that, like, they've said, like, if you test soil, like, almost anywhere in the country, it's going to have that shit in the soil, you know? So it's like, now it's just, like, bled out and, like, you know, it's so pervasive in, like, every single thing that you eat. So I think, like, the amount of exposure has increased over the time, okay? It's kind of like, okay, if you talk about plastic in the ocean, right?
No, I mean, I understand this concept.
You know, like like one little fish eats it, and then the bigger fish eats the small fish, and then the next
Shark
biggest
eats the
fish
big
eat that,
fish,
right? And so like the amount of plastic like increases over time just because like, you know, I can't remember what that term is. There's a scientific term for this. Yeah, where it just like exponentially increases over time, right?
Yeah.
And then it
because
like
it can't break down.
Right. And so then it's like it becomes part of your body, you know, like it's in your brain. They're finding on autopsy now that people have freaking plastic in their brain, you know? So it's like,
no, they don't. What are you talking about? Plastic.
Have you not seen that?
No.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh my
What do
God.
you mean?
Oh my God.
Like, are you kidding? What do you mean
No.
plastic in my brain? Oh, get the fuck out.
Oh my God.
Pull it up.
You need to go research that. Okay.
Okay.
Plastic.
No.
In brain. Does anybody know else what I'm talking about? Like they've done autopsies and they're like, you have the amount of like a plastic spoon in your brain.
What the fuck? How? Because you eat things with
Human
plastic?
brains contain a surprising amount of microplastics and nanoplastics, with the average brain sample containing roughly 7 grams of these plastic particles, which is roughly equivalent to a plastic spoon.
Let me see. Who is this? .org?
This is it's not. Hold on. I'm trying to get the link.
I mean, are you not on the link?
This is published in The Guardian, CBS News, USA Today, Business Insider, Moffat. I mean, how did you not see this? This was like not that long ago.
I mean,
that they released this, August 21st, 2024. It was a study, and then like a bunch of different media platforms reported on it.
Why were they, what was the autopsy for?
This was not one autopsy.
What?
This was like they were looking at
7 grams.
They were looking at autopsies of thousands of people.
Oh, so it wasn't 7 grams in one brain.
They said that's the average
of
the average
amount of plastic
American
in their brain?
has that in their brain.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't believe it?
I mean, maybe. I mean, like
she's like
as
all
I'm, like,
those doctors doing
chewing on-
autopsies are wrong, and that's not true.
I mean,
Fake news.
Listen. Okay, fine. Plastics in the brain. Okay, but like, I also feel like people are very informed about clean eating and like whatever. Like people are like on.
Yeah, but the problem is you don't realize that like there's so little food that we have access to that's like actually clean. I mean, you can say like I'm going to eat fruits and vegetables and salad every day, but what are the actual fruits and vegetables and salad?
That's what I mean. But you have like all of these people on here. Yeah, like you can go on TikTok and like type in like clean eating and easily find like I don't know, like food service, like whatever, all that shit to like get sent to your house. That's like clean.
Yeah, but like how many people do you think are actually doing that? How many people actually have access to that?
I don't know. What do you mean? Access
Like,
to what?
think of all the Americans out there who can't afford to just like go buy shit from the farmer's market, you know?
No, I mean, I know, but I think like compared to like 1980, people are a
But
lot more
we
food
have that,
conscious.
yeah, but we have that knowledge now because we're realizing there's been a problem, right? Like the damage has already been done. We've already done so much fucking damage up until now. And so now we're realizing, now we have all this information like, oh shit, like the plants that I'm eating have a ton of glyphosate in them, you know, or pesticides,
What does
whatever.
it matter?
What do you mean, what does it matter?
Like, why does that? Okay, like it. Like, are there studies that directly correlate?
Who's going to
those
study
words,
that?
those words, and mental health and
This is the
autism?
problem. Who is going to study that?
Why not?
Why do you think?
I don't fucking know. What do you mean? If people like, isn't this like who's like a figure for this for cleaning this up or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, is RFK the guy? I don't know if he
I
is.
guess.
Okay, like that. He's
Okay, so here's the problem, and this is what we talked about with Lauren Hernandez, okay? Research has to be funded, right? Research ain't free. Who funds research?
Johnson and Johnson. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay. So
Okay.
what's their motive?
I mean, money. I know that.
Yeah, but what do they sell?
A lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
My kid's shampoo.
Right. Okay.
It smells great.
So they're not going to fund research that makes them look bad.
Right. But like, I just don't know a fund research that makes them look bad. I mean, I also think there are some crazy, but like, why couldn't it's an international part sponsor research?
In Europe, they do all this shit. They do all this research in Europe, and that's why like there's pages of chemicals that are outlawed in Europe that we allow in the United States. So we in the United States are not doing the research.
Right, but why does it need to be done in the United States?
Because we're fucking dumb here.
I mean,
we are dumb.
I mean, okay. Fine.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
No,
We have a lot of
why?
very intelligent people here. But I think we just like
I mean,
have,
most aren't.
we don't think, Americans think so in the immediate, right?
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
everything is the immediate, the easy, the convenient.
Yeah.
That makes us money. We don't
Yeah.
think long term, okay?
Right.
Other countries, like in Europe, they are thinking more long term,
Mhm.
right? So they have like much higher standards for approving chemicals, products, etc. in Europe than we do.
Okay, but he did just ban whatever. I follow these people on the
Dyes.
Instagram. It just got passed in Louisiana. I'm going on my Instagram. Hold on. Shit. I know there's a lot of silences, so sorry.
But so okay, like there, you know, Europe has this. They're like when foods or chemicals or whatever are being approved by their regulatory bodies. I don't know what they're called there. They like you have to prove that something is safe and doesn't cause harm in order to get it on the market. Versus here, you get it on the market. And then you have to prove that there's a danger to get it taken off the market. It's the
not
opposite.
medication. Medication's the
No, but
exception.
like food and like whatever, dyes and all that shit, you know? So like we
Okay.
have like opposite methods, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
so we get exposed to all these things and then find out there's a problem. And then there has to be this whole process to get it taken off the market, right? Versus over there, it's like, no, you have to prove that it's safe before you can even put it on the market and expose people to it.
I mean, okay. But what I'm saying now, okay? So Jeff Lane, he's the governor, right?
Of Louisiana.
Yeah. Signing an executive order bans soda and candy through SNAP, which is like the SNAP program.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So like there are people that are in the same mindset or whatever,
Right.
and they're making shit happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Now in 2025.
Yeah, but well, I mean,
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's great that like people are we're finally doing something about it. It's just it's taken us a minute to get there, but I mean, I totally support it. It's like at least they're doing it now. Like, why wasn't that? You know what? What are you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm trying to like gather my thoughts real quick.
Okay.
Like, I think everybody likes to be a fucking martyr and hero. I think especially politicians.
Well, duh. That's why they're
but
politicians.
Like candy and soda, like we've known, I don't know how much. It's like we've known that like it's bad for you, whatever, forever. It's like, why do you care? Why do they care now?
Well, I mean, my idealistic self, an idea of why I think they care is probably different than why they actually care.
Okay, well, why?
But why I hope they care is that they're seeing that the chronic disease rate in the United States has just, I mean, it's out of control right now. Like how much it's increased. It is a huge burden on our economy, massive burden, okay? Because it's a massive burden on the medical system. It's a burden on the workforce. It's extremely expensive. And so, and we've, you know, for this whole time, we've been just trying to patch the holes and put Band-Aids on it, which doesn't frickin' work. And so now they're realizing like, oh, maybe we should be preventative. Like that's the way to prevent chronic disease so that we end up not spending all this money on chronic disease, you know? I mean, so I think that's my hope of their intention is that we're trying to do something preventative. Is that actually their intention? I don't know. They might just be doing it to get votes. Who fucking cares? At least they're doing it. Yeah. Who cares? I don't care. I'm glad they're doing it. It should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, I know. But also like they can get soda and shit elsewhere. But like, yeah, good. So chemicals are evil and they're the root of all mental health diagnoses. No, it's not.
That's not what I said.
That's what she's saying. And like the rise in all illnesses, I mean, is multifaceted and whatever.
Very multifaceted.
There's not like one answer. And I mean, I am in the boat that like people want a reason for something. Yeah. That no one wants to take accountability. Yeah. No one wants to do the work as it relates to mental health. Yep. So like if I have symptoms of depression, it is much easier for my pride and my like self to blame or either excuse or blame it on or like be helpless because I have this diagnosis. Right. And then it's like that identity thing. And it's like, I think that that's why people are seeking treatment. More people are seeking an eval or whatever of some sort. Yeah. Because they don't want to look inward and take accountability and do the work for themselves. Yeah. So they go find someone who can slap a label on it and like put a med on it. Right. That's what I think the reason is for the mental health rise. Which is, I guess, part of it, but... yeah,
I would say that's part of it. I do think that's part of it. I think part of it is, that, like, people don't want to take action. But also, like, I think it's our job as mental health professionals to, you know, explain to people. This is what I always explain to my patients, is, like, a medication is only going to do so much.
Yeah, no.
And then you got to do the rest of the work, you know, and it takes a lot of work to be well, you know, and to be healthy. And it's not just one thing. It's like you got to do 15 different things to get better, you know?
But no one wants to do that.
Right.
Like parents don't want to do it. Like if it's, and it goes back to like the easy way out thing. It's like no one wants to put any work in because people don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't want you to just like fix them.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I mean, and then it goes back to money because you prescribe and the insurance and whatever. Anyway, so clearly like ongoing discussion, people. Yeah. But if you have any thoughts, if you want to slap your opinion on, just give us a little DM on the Insta. Let us know what you think.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
That's true. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Little Brain Campaign podcast.
If you enjoyed our conversation, give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.
And hey, those ratings and reviews, they actually matter, like a lot. Take 30 seconds to leave us a review while you're still thinking about it.
Until next time, remember, we're all just trying our best.
See you next week.